Because I was conditioned to being hit, like my other senses, they were like at peak all the time. If someone was coming into my room in the morning, or if they were gonna come into my room, I would wake up before they opened the door. Like that's how on edge I was. And it was super exhausting. Like I felt sleepless sometimes. Definitely like on edge. My name is Christian Aguinaldo. I am currently 23, Jordan year. San Marcos, California. Been everywhere, all around California, living life. I got into the foster program when I was about 8. I didn't have a complete understanding of what was going on until I realized what was going on. That light bulb goes off in your head, and you're like, oh wow. And so I was only in it for a year, my sister stayed in it. And then after probably 3 or 4 years, my sisters got out, was at home for a little bit, started to get into high school, things changed. I was becoming a sophomore. I had gone back into the foster system. From there, I just stayed, had it the rest of high school, and it was definitely a good thing because I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for probably being in a foster home.
There's this big myth that kids enter foster care because of delinquency and something that they've done, they've committed a crime. That's absolutely not true. Children enter foster care because they've experienced abuse and neglect, and their parents were not able to provide safe and stable housing for them.
So part of the reason why I was put into foster care is abuse. Not just physical, but mentally as well. A lot of negativity. But the part of the reason why we ended up being in a foster home was because my mom was trying to teach my sisters a lesson, and my sisters kept forgetting their lunch. And my mom decided that one day, I'm not gonna bring you your lunch because you forgot it. It was just a lesson, but that lesson ended up being a lot bigger than what it was. Because then they had asked if there was anything wrong in the house. And like, yeah, you get hit, and I'm like, well, how do you get hit? And with the belt, sometimes there's bruises, sometimes, and they asked me, and I was just like, yeah, I get hit. Being the oldest, I feel like I became a punching bag. If my dad had a bad day and he was angry and something wasn't right, I knew the stick was coming down on me. It's crazy to think about.
A lot of people don't understand that the support for these kids and for myself was a very important aspect of whether I was successful or not.
I do believe that by joining organizations, being a part of something, gives you more self-power to be able to get to where you're trying to go.
My whole goal in life is to not be like my parents. And when I feel like I'm like going down that road, if it's homelessness or if it's I didn't pay a bill on time, or all of the little things that people go through every day affect us a little bit more differently because we automatically go back to survival mode. We don't want to go through what we went through before, so we want to change that when we get a little bit older, and it's hard to if we don't have the appropriate resources.
ACE is a on-campus support service for young people who are coming out of the foster care system.
They want the best for you because they know your back story. I got to speak to former foster youth or kids that are on that line of where they won't graduate.
Sometimes it's very therapeutic for them to say, here's what happened to me and here's where I am. And other people say to them, that's amazing. That's very therapeutic. And that feedback as to, okay, now you're in college, you are beating the odds, is positive reinforcement to them.
The opportunity to talk and be an influence and say, hey, this is what happened to me, and I'm still able to be like, I'm here, I'm not a statistic.
Now, Kimberly, I know that we've talked about some of the statistics about the youth in foster care are really appalling.
Right. Their graduation rates right now are about a 50% dropout rate. So 1
Wow.
in 2 will make it. The homeless rate is extremely high. 30% once they age out of the foster care system become homeless. There's no data on youth going to grad school. So I mean, that just shows how awful the statistics are.
You go back to, you have this negative aspect of yourself, and you don't think you are worthy of a 4-year institution. Are you really smart enough?
They really want to do well and graduate in high school, but due to their circumstances, finding somewhere to sleep at night becomes more of a priority than going to school and doing your homework.
Many of them don't have top-notch grades, but that's not because they're stupid. It's because they've been moved around and they haven't had a consistent educational base. Statistically speaking, you got a better chance of getting a 4-year college degree in the prison system than you do in the foster care system. That's a pretty sad statement. I've been a social worker for almost 40 years. I have always worked in child welfare. And since my wife is in higher education, and I have taught college, I knew enough about higher education as well as I knew enough about the child welfare system that I could help bring the two together. She had an office and we had a phone, and that was all. And we had 9 students that we identified who were former foster youth. Started working with them and then writing some grants, getting some donations, and we slowly, since 2007, have built it up to what I think is a top-tier program in the state of California.
What I was like before ACE, I was this rambunctious ball of energy. Like, I look like a nebula compared to the sun. There's a couple different ways that ACE has supported me. Definitely helped mold me into the gentleman that I am, being professional in every aspect that I can be, having a mentor in my field of study, as well as I needed to find proper housing because rent was a little expensive.
Many of them are 18 with no credit and no money. They really can't find anywhere to live, and unfortunately they don't have the family support to fall back on when they find themselves in tough situations.
I think what actually stirred up us going into a foster home when I was in high school was when my sisters got in trouble. Mom told my sisters they can go outside and play, just be back by 5:30 so you can do your chores before dad gets home. Dad comes home early. Dad's mad because chores aren't done like they're supposed to. I told them to do that before they left, and in my head I'm like, can I say anything or am I gonna get in trouble? So my dad's mad, and then my mom is mad now too. In my head I'm just like, oh, this is either gonna go bad or everything is just gonna blow over, but it just got worse. I wanted to go ahead and be a part of the dance team, help perform, at the same time play football and play basketball. And I told my mom, she's like, yeah, go ahead and do it. And then she lies to my dad because she's mad. I came home at 8 o'clock at night. My dad is just livid, saying that I didn't ask to do anything, all this. And I'm like, I told Mom. And just the rage and fury, you just get clocked. I didn't even know what happened. And all the times that anything bad has happened, that was probably the one that is ingrained in my head. My dad wanted me to fight him. I didn't want to fight him. Why am I gonna hit you? I don't need to. It's just one of the things that play in my head when I go back to a really bad place in my mind is just, getting your chest kicked in. Sisters weren't home at like 5:45, had to go get them. Sister had rolled her ankle, and we live on a huge hill, like at the very top. Get home, my mom starts yelling at my sisters, grab my baby sister. My baby sister was like, don't touch me. I don't need to be touched. I didn't do anything wrong. I tried to grab her by her hair, and the sister just smacked her hand. And then that's when the whole thing blew up. She's like, I don't deserve this. This is not how I'm supposed to be raised. And I just see a right hook from my sister. I'm just like, in my head, like at that moment, you think like trumpets are playing and everything, but that was just for a split second, and then it just turned into a huge fight. I didn't really connect with my dad. It was more of like, you know, you sit in the car and there's no word spoken. It was just another body, and it's awkward. It's not comfortable. I never hated him. I resented him for a little bit, but I got over that and just said, hey, it happened. I mean, the only thing is we can just learn from it and grow from it and be better. We all gotta escape. Just step in a dance room, music full volume, and just close my eyes for a good second and just breathe in the music. I feel amazing. I feel powerful. I feel most of all happy because I am doing something that I love. What I would like to say is that you control what you want. This is your reality, you create it. So if you think that you can be something great, then be great. Don't let society say no, other people tell you no. Don't try to swim with the crowd, just do what you want to do because that's what's gonna make you happy.